Hello, minions and fiends and all the in-betweens. I don't know if my music is loud. Maybe we'll turn it down just a smidge. It makes some weird sounds and stuff. You know how it is. So I haven't made a bit of an update video in a while. It's definitely been challenging since I moved to figure things out as to where I want things, my setup. My setup is definitely very lackluster compared to what I had at the old place. Right now it's very cramped, which is why I'm using a green screen, because I don't really want you seeing the stuff that's behind me, because there's really no reason to see that stuff anyways. But the place is a lot different, which is good, but it's also kind of not so good, I guess, just because I don't have as much storage, which is something that I've talked about on stream extensively, and how much as an artist having less storage is definitely impacting me in a bit of a negative way, because I'm realizing I might not be able to get rid of a storage unit, which is very disheartening, because I would like to have all of my crafty stuff here, but because I have created so many things over the last, you know, the entirety of my life, it makes it a little difficult to decide what to keep or get rid of. I think that's part of the reason I end up donating stuff, is because I just don't have the space to house it, and I would much rather have it go somewhere positive than me destroy it. So there's that. I definitely really love art, and if you've been here before, you know that I talk extensively about art and how it's really helped me to live my life to the fullest, and also help me to cultivate a really good relationship with myself and the need I have for creating that space for myself to be able to heal, process things, and think, for that matter. So it is something that very much gets me in tune with my own body, and it's something I wish other people would also be able to experience, because art has helped me substantially. So all of the artsy stuff aside, I'm still struggling a lot with my mental health, which is something I don't always like to talk about, but I feel like it's pertinent, because when you live with chronic illness, it's really easy to get lost within yourself at times and get lost in the mundaneness that is appointments and pharmacies and that kind of stuff. So if you guys don't know, I have multiple pharmacies, and part of the reason for that is because I can't get coverage at certain pharmacies, or they don't make all of the medications that I need. Some are compounded, some are not compounded, some are syringes, some are other injectables and that kind of stuff, and it's just like some are supplements. Like, there's so many different aspects to my medical care in that regard that it can get frustrating and daunting, especially if I have all three of them calling me in the same day on top of a whole bunch of doctor's appointments. And I think that's part and partial, like, why I just get so tired and burnt out, because trying to like deal with all of the chronic health stuff, as well as trying to like chase after dreams and things that I want to see happen for myself, it can be very frustrating and isolating at times. And I know I talk a lot about isolation, but I feel like it's such a important thing to discuss in the chronic illness sphere, as well as rare disease sphere, because there's so many times that we get stuck in these cycles of healthcare where you can't stop going to the doctor. Like, you have to go every week, or you have multiple appointments every week. And sometimes those appointments mean not getting all of your prescriptions at one appointment, because you have like millions of medications you're on, which is an exaggeration, of course, but like there's tons. There's a lot of medications I'm on. I can't just phone the doctor or the pharmacy and be like, oh, please refill all my meds. I have to like book an appointment that's like close to half an hour to an hour long, depending, to talk about my medication renewals, what I need, what I'm still on, what I'm trying that's new, you know, something else that's been implemented into my care. Like, it's a very daunting thing. And then at the end of all of that, like, just as that prescription renewal as an example, like, you can be very tired because you've just talked about all the medication you're on to keep your body going, but you're exhausted from having that conversation. So it's like, okay, now I need a break. And then it's like, I'll come online sometimes and then people be like, hey, how's your health? And I legit will say, like, I don't want to talk about it today. And I know that I put myself out there in many capacities for like talking about the things that I live with and that kind of thing, which is great. But it's also one of those things where sometimes I need a break from it myself. And there was an instance, I think it was like maybe 2 years ago, where I told all my doctors to nicely go away for like a month because I just didn't want to deal with any of it. I still ended up having to have eyelid surgery in the interim, but I did manage to get a bit of a reprieve, which was really nice because it's so hard when you're constantly going to doctor's appointments. Even if they're virtual, it's still exhausting. And if you're meeting new doctors, then you're re traumatizing yourself, re explaining everything that you live with. And it just turns into this like mess, I guess, in my brain where I just get so overwhelmed by all of the stuff that I have. And then I don't really talk about it with people, which I don't think is very healthy. But that's also why I'm in therapy, so I have someone to talk to about it. But it's a very daunting and exhausting task to talk to doctors, to talk to people that are medical technicians, to talk to nurses, to talk to anyone within the hospital setting. And I've said it numerous times to like my parents that I get so exhausted when I have a new person on my medical team that says to me like you have so much stuff going on, good for you, keep going, or like that's so much stuff, it's so heavy, your life must be so hard. It's just like I understand that and I appreciate the reflectiveness to some degree, but it also like isolates me at the same time because I feel like people don't necessarily 100% understand. And I don't think that anyone ever will. Like, and I think unless you're in a similar situation where you are really isolated and you can't do all of the things that you long to do and you're living a very bubbled lifestyle, it does get lonely as fuck. Like, it really does. It gets so lonely at times where I just wonder, why am I doing this to myself? But then if I don't do it and I try to live like everyone else does in the very fragrant world, I find myself getting sicker and then sadder and struggling more. And it's this catch 22 of like wanting connection and longing to connect with people, but at the same time being allergic to so much of the world. And so I get depressed and I get sad and I don't want to eat and I don't want to take my medication and I really struggle a lot. And talking about it is hard because I don't want pity. I've never been someone that wants pity. It's why I downplay a lot of the stuff that I have and I don't really talk about everything I have going on because I don't want pity. I want understanding. I want to be seen and heard, but I don't want pity. And I feel like in the sphere of chronic illness and rare diseases and living with things that are long term, there's always this weird pity that is encapsulated in it, and I do my best to avoid it because I don't like how pity makes me feel. And I think that's part of the reason with like medical appointments and pharmacies and all that that I get so burnt out because it's this constant reminder like you're sick, you have this, like even if I don't want to talk about my illness, it's still a huge part of my life. Like I can't escape it. I can't escape what my body does to me, right? Like I can shut the camera off and not record it and not post it online, but that doesn't mean that I'm not struggling, right? And I think that's part of the disconnect between myself and myself is like I want to be seen and heard and understood, but like at the same time I don't want to burn myself out. Like does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm just rambling a lot when I sit here and I do these like talking head videos where I just like talk about the things that I've got going on. And I know I'm very vague. That's just the kind of person that I am. Like I've always tried to figure out why am I this way, and I did take a personality test years and years ago and I am an INFJ. And I know that because I took the Myers-Briggs test, and while some people say it's pseudoscience, which it's not, I don't think it is, by the way. I've discovered so much about myself as an INFJ that things make a lot more sense to me as to why I am the way that I am. I am vague, but I also do a lot of stuff behind closed doors, so to speak, with my art, with my short film weirdness, making content, writing, all of that kind of stuff. Like, I wrote a song recently, which was with someone that was in my community. They are in my community, not was, they are in my community. He'd sent me some music and said, like, here, have at it. And I wrote something and it just kind of came out of me, and hopefully he can use it. And if not, that's totally cool too. But it really helped me to get in touch with that lyrical side of me. And writing songs is completely new to me. I don't know how to write the musical aspect of it, but I do know how to write lyrics, kinda, sorta. I'm very novice in it. But that's something about me that I love about myself, is every creative avenue is an avenue I want to explore. And that is something that I have longed for my entire life, to learn all of the different kinds of creation. And that's why doing documentary filmmaking, doing claymation, even trying to figure out AI and use AI for animation and that kind of thing has really helped me to become more well-rounded. Now, if I had all of the money in the world, which I do not, I would definitely go to animation school. I would go to video game school. I would go back to film school. I would go and get my Bachelor of Fine Arts finished. But the thing is, when you live with the stuff that you live with, it makes it really difficult to navigate the outside world at times. And I think because people don't fully understand that aspect of things, that it's easy for others to get frustrated with me, but more so it's easier for me to get frustrated with myself. And so being introspective and looking at that and being like, hey, maybe I should stop being internally ableist and figure out the things that I can do for myself to help me have a better quality of life. And that's why I make the stuff that I make, because I feel like I don't have what a lot of other people have, and that's not a oh woe is me kind of thing. That's reality, right? Like, my therapist had told me to accept the fact that I'm alone, and I'm working on that, but it's true. And so if I tell people I'm alone and I'm lonely, then they come back at me, well, you're choosing that kind of lifestyle. But I'm not. Like, I see in different aspects and different scenarios for other people where people around them are willing to sacrifice things like fragrances or other chemical compounds that may make them quite sick. And people are doing that for them. And that is amazing. And that gives me hope. But for me, I've not necessarily been met with that, other than like my own family, who took a while to convince, but they did do the thing, and my ex-husband's family, which took a while to convince, but they did the thing. And they gave those things up so I could be around them, but there was still a lot of other fine, intricate workings that were making it difficult for me to do things. And as my diseases have progressed and how I have gotten worse over the years, I have noticed that it's harder and harder to spend time with people without them understanding. And so there is a disconnect for me. And so I am lonely and I am alone. And it's not because I want to be, but it's because I have to be for my own safety. And that is something I find that there's a weird disconnect or break-in between me and other people. Because people either see it for what it is, or they don't see it at all, or they think that I'm exaggerating or I'm making it up, and then when they see me have a medical issue, they get scared and they run away. So, like, I understand it from all sides, but it is also very lonely. And so, as someone who's very introspective, because I am an INFJ, I have learned how to do things to help myself cope, how to be the best support system that I can be for myself. And when I do that for myself, I know that I can do that for other people, and I can offer people that safe space or that, area where they can offload their burdens or share what they're going through and feel seen and heard, because I know what it's like not to be seen, and I know what it's like not to be heard, and I know what it's like to be told to shut up when you start talking about the things you're going through because other people can't handle it. And that is okay. Some people will be there and help you shoulder the burden that you carry or burdens you carry, and that's just a blanket thing for everyone in life. That's for every aspect of life. That's for anyone living with any illness or no illness or anything. People will be there, but other people will not. And that says more about them than it does about you. And maybe you trigger something in them to make them think about mortality. I know that I tend to do that when I discuss things with people because of the things that I've lived with and lived through, and the instances of scary health things that I've had, like the bleed that I had in my brain, which I am pretty sure, and no doctor has, said this, but I'm pretty sure it changed my personality because I stopped putting up with a lot of crap after that happened and became a lot more forthright with my words and very, very blunt. And I feel like it changed me. It changed me in many ways. And not just that, my cancer changed me, all of my diseases have changed me and made me into who I am now. And I am a different person. I would not be this person if I was healthy. I really don't think I would. I don't think I would have the want to make the changes within the disability community and bring about awareness towards ableism and the disgustingness that happens with ableism and how much it pisses me off. And I maybe wouldn't be making art about all of these different chronic illnesses that I live with, right? And it's not even just the art aspect of it. It's I make little films to describe these things or little comics and that kind of stuff. And that's something else that I worked on years ago that I kind of put on the wayside. And then this last week I went through and I started re-editing them and putting them together, and I sent some of them to publishers because I was like, why not? Like I feel like a lot of the time, as much as I say change doesn't happen while we're sitting on our hands, I sit on my hands. I prevent myself from stirring change. And a part of that is because of the fear. But I'm doing my best to encourage myself to keep going, for no matter how uncomfortable I feel now, perhaps through all of that uncomfortableness, I will be able to make change and help other people. And that is what I want to do in this lifetime. I just want to help. I have not always been a kind person. I am very sure and certain I have hurt people when I tried to unalive myself many years ago, many times, more than once, because I would cut people out with the purpose of trying to no longer be here. And I did have a plan this last year to no longer be here. And I had one person that saw that side of me and encouraged me to keep going. And I'm still here. And I know that it's hard. And I know living with illnesses is hard. And I would encourage you to keep going. And I've been there. I've really been there. And I'm getting help again because I need it. And life is worth living. It is, and it's worth making the change that you want to make. It's worth creating that thing you want to create. Just don't quit on you. I understand how hard it is. I may not understand exactly what you're going through, but I know from a chronic illness perspective that living these kinds of lives is hard. It's challenging. It's different from the quote-unquote norm, whatever the fuck that is. But we can do it. And if I can do it, and if I can keep going, you can too. I know it. I know it in my soul. I know it in my essence, in my being. Your life is worth living. You are worth protecting, and you are worth it. So keep moving forward. And I know that talking about the unalive stuff is a very difficult and challenging topic, and I didn't really want to talk about that, so I might cut that out of this. But we'll see. I do appreciate you being here. I appreciate you checking out my video. I am forever grateful to you for coming back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and thank you for being here. If you want to subscribe and like and hang around for more content, please feel free to do so. I don't always post, but when I do, sometimes it's rambling videos like this, because that's what this channel is for. It's like a video diary channel that I upload on when I feel up to it, and sometimes I don't feel up to it at all, so that's why there's months and months of no content on here. But I'm going to do my best to upload when I can. That is all I can promise to you with this channel, because all of the other things that I'm doing, all of the things I want to get published, I want to get those published, and that means grinding that. That means putting the time and effort into those things to make that happen. So, thank you for being here. Take good care of yourself, And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.